What's up, guys? I hope everybody's doing well. I had a topic that I wanted to talk about, and right before I was about to go into that topic, I was kind of scrolling on TikTok because I had some saved ideas of things I wanted to speak about, and I found this video that I saved a long time ago, and I wanted to touch on that a little bit now before I get into my actual point. And the video was basically just talking about how you have to be yourself, because you can't expect to make genuine relationships or connections with people if you're not being who you truly are. And that doesn't mean that you start just acting off of your intuition and what you're feeling in that exact moment. Like, you can't just speak without having any sort of filter and just say, well, that's who I am, that's the type of person that I am, so if you don't like who that is, then that you don't like me. That's not what I'm saying. Obviously still try to be a good person, obviously still try to make conscientious decisions, but try to be yourself as much as you can, and try to stop putting on an act of being this version of yourself that you're not. And I talked about this a little bit in one of my videos not too long ago, where in high school I used to be the class clown, and now I'm still a jackass, obviously. Like, I'm still a class clown in life, but in a way that's more myself. Like, I like to be goofy, I like to make people laugh, I like to do things that make people uncomfortable, but in a way that I think is kind of healthy. And I enjoy doing that, and that's who I am. And I don't do it from a place of, hey, look at me, I exist. This is me trying to get everybody's attention, and I'm going to do this outlandish shit because maybe it'll make people look at me, laugh at me, acknowledge my existence. And not to say that I didn't have friends, I didn't have relationships in high school and everything, but I was just more so in tune with making people laugh and making people acknowledge my existence, because if I acted like an absolute idiot, that's how I would get people's attention. And that's just not a healthy way to go about life. And you have to start finding your role of who you truly are. And that doesn't mean completely change how you're acting now, but you have to be honest with yourself. And are you acting this way to fit in with the friend group? Are you acting this way to get accepted by these people in your family, or your friends, your partners, whomever in life? Pardon the stutter, but whomever. You just have to start pursuing life genuinely and doing things in a way to where that's how you feel in your heart about something. Start speaking your mind and start saying things that are weighing heavy on your heart, because they're there for a reason. You have these feelings for a reason, and God put them there, and they're instilled in you to see if you're man enough or woman enough to speak these things out loud and tell someone how you feel, especially if it's something that's important, or you see somebody putting someone down or saying something that you just don't stand with morally or ethically. You have to start speaking out for yourself, or else you're going to fall into the same crowd, and you're going to be looked at as the same level of those people. If you keep associating yourself with people who are acting this way, and you consider them to be your true friends, you have to call them out, and you have to say that, hey man, I don't like that you're doing that, I don't agree with it. And it can be in a way that's kinder or relatable, and you know how your relationship is with that friend, so only you know how to do it. And if you don't know how to approach it, then maybe you aren't as close with that person as you think. If I had to call out any of my true friends for something, I could say, hey dude, you're being a jackass, like that's not right, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, and they'd be like, you're right. And we understand when we call each other out, it's from a place of love, from the vast majority of times. And it's definitely harder when you're younger. Like, I remember in high school, there's a lot of times where I wanted to call people out for doing things, and I would fall into the same crowd of wanting to fit in so much that I would do things that I didn't agree with. And it was just hard for me to want to call these people out, because I don't know, when you're younger, it's just you want to fit in so badly, and you want to find your niche, and you want to find your crowd so much that you tend to fall into these molds that don't exactly define who you are. And that's basically what my opening kind of is. My main point was going to be Greg Plitt. I've talked about him like 3 or 4 episodes now, and not in a row, but I've talked about him 3 or 4 separate videos, and he's been super motivational to me, and not only motivational, but just really helped me in curating a life that I want to live, and doing things intensely and doing things with passion, and not having no regrets, because I feel like that's impossible. Like, no matter how you live life, you're going to have regrets. If you pursue something every single day with everything that you have, then you're going to have the regret of not experiencing life and enjoying life. So there's a balance to life, and there's almost no way you won't have some form of regret. And it's not, you'll come to the acceptance of regret is going to be there no matter what, but the more that you can mitigate it and make it smaller in your life, the more that you'll have peace with it. And I'm feeling myself to slowly have less anxiety with the things that I'm wanting with the future. Having less anxiety, because I know that I am pursuing something with a true intention, and regardless of how it plays out, I'm just trusting God, and it's getting easier for me. But with Greg Plitt, I just want to talk about how he passed, and how he actually got to die with no regrets, literally 0 regrets. And not because he worked extremely hard every single day like he did, and not because, not because he pursued his dream every single day, not because he lived life to the fullest, but because he passed away doing what he was passionate about and didn't even have a moment to think about regrets because he passed away instantly. He got hit by a train, I believe. And you look at people who are elderly, like we all will be, and you have those regrets as you get closer to the end of your life. You have those regrets because you have those moments to sit and actually ponder on them. But was 37, living life to the fullest, and literally in the middle of the, what am I even saying? In the middle of a in the middle of a vlog, and he was just doing what he was passionate about. He was trying to give a message to his following, trying to give a message to his community, and trying to do what he preached every single day, which was doing something that is a little bit crazy, a little bit out of the norm. And with him doing that, he didn't have the moment to think about any of the things that he hadn't achieved yet in his life because he didn't know his life was about to end. It happened instantaneously. It happened with his back turned. It happened without him even knowing it was going to happen. And with that being said, the dude got to die with no regrets. And that's because I believe that his life ended abruptly and ended in that way because it's exactly how he would have wanted to go out. He would have wanted to go out doing exactly what he loved. He would have wanted to go out quickly, without any pain, without any regrets. And I think that's something that God blessed him with because of how hard he pursued and chased after making every single day worth living. And the last thing I want to say is, and these don't really all tie in, the 3 points that I'm making, but I'm going to try my best to make them do it a little bit. I'm going to talk about how I hear a lot of people say, like, you have to have faith in God, which I completely agree with. I'm having a hard time speaking, but forgive me. People agree with that completely, and I do as well. But you can't just say, God, heal this person, or God, do this in my life. God, please bring me $1 million. God, please do this or do that without having the action to match the request. And you can't expect God to move mountains if you're not at least pushing. You know what I mean? If he sees you just sitting there staring at the mountain, and you're not doing anything to try to ease anything in anyone else's life, you're not trying to help anybody. So like if you're praying for somebody to be healed and you're not trying to help that person with whatever you could be helping them with, like if you're trying to, God help, I pray that this person is healed from whatever, and you're not going to visit this person, you're not going to try and help them and help them with their children, help them whatever things they have to do, and you're not taking the conscientious effort to call them and ask how they're doing and doing all these other things that are difficult. If you're not making the effort to do that and actually reach out and try to make a difference yourself, then you asking God, hey, heal this person, he's seeing you make a request without any faith, because the faith requires action. If you're asking him to move a mountain and he sees you pushing, I feel like it's much more likely for him to help you. And I know that this is not biblically accurate down to a certain extent, but I do believe that God, you reap what you sow, and that's positively and negatively. And if you are sowing an outcome that is positive, if you are praying for something but also working towards it intently and intensely and trying to be more Christ-like, trying to sin less, trying to pursue something that aligns with his word, like, hey God, I want to be the best gambler in the world, I want to be the best bartender in the world. If you're praying for things that don't align with his word, then how do you expect for him to ever not grant your wish, but grant your prayer? How do you ever expect for that thing to work out in your life if it's not lined up with his word? And I don't know. I just think that Greg Plitt was pursuing life with everything that he had every single day, and he preached that, and I think he also lived by that, and that's why he was able to pass away while doing that, and in that moment got to literally die with no regrets. And I think if he would have lived to be 80, he might have had the regret of, I don't think he had any kids. He might have had the regret of not ever starting a family. He might have had the regret of this or that, and there's plenty of regrets that he probably would have ended up having because everybody has them no matter what. But he got to die without them because God saw how hard he pursued trying to have a life that was worth living. And I just think that you guys should try to do the same and try to start focusing on being yourself and trying to figure out exactly who that is, what yourself is, because I wasn't sure what that was for a long time. I'm still not sure, and I'm trying to figure out myself. And the more that I've spent time alone, the more God has discerned my thoughts and gave me a better idea of who Gage truly is. And you just have to sit in silence more often. And this is what I've been preaching also lately is get off your phone. Get off your phone. When you get home, don't put on the TV. When you get home, when you're going on a long drive, don't play music the entire time. Give yourself take away some distractions to try to focus on figuring out who you are, because a lot of us never give ourselves the opportunity to do that, and then we never figure out what our passion is. And when people ask you, what are you passionate about, what are you pursuing, we don't really have an answer, and we're like, I don't know. And God just hasn't given me an idea of what I'm supposed to do in this life. And it's like, well, have you searched at all? Because God can create miracles and he can do amazing things, but it's a lot more likely for those things to happen if you're praying for it and also acting on it. So that's basically what the message is for today. I don't know exactly what the total correlation is, but I feel like everything kind of ties in a bit decently. I'm gonna go work on some stuff in the coffee shop. I recommend this Sunday that you guys go try to do something productive. I ended up not being able to go to church today, and I could make the excuse and say, well, I'll be there next week, but I'm going to go home after this and I'm going to watch the service on my TV, and I'm going to take the time to do that because it's something that I told myself I want to start doing more often. And just because I missed it this morning, whenever I totally could have made it and should have made it, just because I missed it because I made the excuse for myself that I needed more sleep, I'm not going to make the excuse that I'll push it off till next week. I'm going to do what I can do today, and I feel like you guys just need to focus on doing what you can do today. I guess that's the message. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a blessed one.